Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vouched Partner Podcast. We're super excited to have Kanishka Khanna here with us from Dilly Labs. Kanishka is the founder and CEO of Dilly Labs. Um, you've led risk and product teams at various companies like Blue Vine and STEM. And here you're building Dilly Labs to be a definitive provider of APIs and workflow management for lots of companies in the space. Today, we're going to learn more about your company, what you're providing that's unique in the industry, and why you chose to partner with Vouched. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And we're talking today from your HQ in the Bay Area. So, welcome. Tell us a little bit about the origin of the company, how you came to have this idea to create Dilly Labs, and what you're up to currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't I start with a little bit of context on my background? So I've always been in fintech. I started my career in MasterCard as a BD analyst, realized large companies were not for me. So switched after I think year and a half and joined Blue Vine as one of the first risk analysts. And spent about 5 years just growing within the risk ranks there, right? So underwriting loans all the way to running risk strategy and operations there. And then from there, I jumped to a trade finance company out of London doing new financial products, so helping them build 0 to 1 bets that wasn't in the trade finance space. And through both those experiences, kind of came on the idea for Dilly Labs, right? What we understood was that the infrastructure that we were putting into place kind of dictated the product quality, both as a risk operator as well as a product builder, and realized that this is a very fragmented marketplace, right? There are many vendors of the same types, whether in identity verification, business verification, financials, right? And it's not quite clear to buyers what's good and what is vaporware. And the idea was that how can we ensure that buyers who come to make a purchase are very secure in the transaction that they're about to go through? Because the worst thing that can happen is that you partner with someone and then at the end of whatever the first year, you're trying to get out of it as quickly as possible and you're pissed about the entire experience. So, yeah.
Yeah. And say a little bit, what year did you found this company, and any key milestones that you've experienced so far
Yeah,
in your
absolutely.
growth and establishment?
Yeah, for sure. So we started ideating back in May of 2024. Actually, yesterday, or actually, no, it's today. Today is our 1 year anniversary, which is like very cool. So milestone right there. Yeah, so we started ideating then and we ran a questionnaire and I was super annoying to like about 40, 50 people in the industry of just like what's working, what's not working, right, on the buyer and the vendor side. And we got a lot of confirmation, right? Specifically on the vendor side, it was not being able to find the right people to talk to, not being able to find them at the right time, right? So it's just about, reaching out and just Hail Mary hoping that they're looking to make a purchase. And then on the buyer side, not sure who to talk to again and who's good. So once we kind of got that confirmation, we decided we were going to index the entire vendor landscape and ended up with about 450 to about 500 vendors till date on this platform. Launched in beta in November of 2024 and kind of in a general release state now. And we're taking on new vendors and new buyers every day.
Excellent. And so, how are you finding? Obviously, the buyers are coming to you through marketing, word of mouth, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, Vouch is a new partner, so
Mhm.
we connected to you through industry contacts. And
Yep.
so, how are you finding the other solutions that are populating the marketplace for Dilly Labs?
Yeah, so we're kind of stepping away from the legacy providers, right? They're great and they obviously have their space in the market. I think what's more interesting to us are the folks that are just starting out now. And when I say now, I'm it's a very loose term, last 5 years, right? And they're taking a novel approach or a refreshed approach to whatever they're doing. Those come from various different sources, from industry consultants who reach out and say, "Hey, I spoke to someone interesting," from operators who are being cold pitched by, the new YC company that's trying to do something interesting. A lot of just cold referrals coming in, and we take a meeting with everyone, right? And we want to learn, and we want to make sure that the library is as robust as it possibly can be. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And so one of the industry trends that Vouch is paying close attention to are the explosion of AI agents.
Hmm.
Consumers and small business are using to make reservations, to buy things, to set appointments. What kind of industry trends are you paying attention to for the buying community that is leading you to either curate or recruit vendors? What kind of needs are those vendors meeting right now?
Yeah, a great question. I think identity is top of mind for everyone, right? Especially I haven't looked into this too much, but the agentic commerce, right? Of allowing agents to make purchases on your behalf is super, super interesting, obviously, but very dangerous too, right? How do you know that the person who's making the purchase actually intended to, and it's not some AI agent going rogue or some sort of fraudulent transaction, right? Now, anything in that space is becoming super relevant for us and relevant for the buyers because they're actually getting either attacked or addressed by these kind of agentic purchases.
Yeah, for sure. And then are there other regulatory or compliance pressures that you're seeing that are changing, and maybe in light of the new administration or just changes in the market?
Not really. No, and maybe I'm a little far from that portion of things. I think
Yeah.
the operators that I speak to on a regular basis, they're coming and they're thinking about these regulatory pressures and then using us to find the right providers that can answer those questions. And that's where we kind of excel. But we're maybe not, and maybe we should be keeping a closer tab on the regulatory stuff. But we are more information mercenaries than anything else.
Sure. Yeah. Excellent. I like that term. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Uh, so, um, in light of the building of your ecosystem you've just launched, uh,
Mhm.
what and you and I have talked a little bit about go to market activity for Dilly Labs.
Yeah.
What are you planning in the coming year that will help more companies find you?
Oh, absolutely. We have a ton coming up. So bear with me a little bit.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we're starting to think about surveys, right? I think overwhelmingly from our buyers, the discovery isn't enough. It's nice, right? But what they want to know is gets the social proof around everything, right? So two places where we're going to start introducing surveys. One, post demo. So once the introduction is made, we collect information from the buyers about the performance of the vendor. What were they sold in the RFP versus what was actually available, right? So the vaporware versus real software. And the second is from current customers, right? Testimonials, their feedback around their experience post-purchase, what's going well, what's not going well. And what the approach that we're planning to take here is very segregated from the actual vendor themselves. So
Mhm.
while we'll be sourcing the clients directly from the vendors of, who will give the testimonials, we're not revealing those testimonials to the vendors. So there's this cone of silence that protects the testimonial and allows the prospective buyers to really understand what's going on there. And that
Mhm.
really came out of the reference calls that we've done in the past while we've been facilitating transactions, right? It's just natural that vendors will send over references that will be excellent, but that's not necessarily helpful. It's nice, but ultimately everyone wants a little bit of spice in what they're hearing from the other person, right? They don't want everything to be perfect because then that makes their ears perk up.
Yeah. Authentic feedback is rare.
Authentic feedback is
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Okay, that's great. So surveys. Um,
Survey.
What else is cooking for Dilly Labs?
Yeah. So we have surveys. We're thinking about building out a product studio so you can come in and actually share your current stack. We will do gap analysis for you, understand where you have really robust areas, where you maybe have areas of weakness or gaps, and help you fill those with, the multitude of partners that we have out there, namely among which is Vouched, of course. We want to become the hub, the product hunt for fintech, right? We want all new launches to happen through us. So if folks are looking for design partnerships, please come to us. We will help you find. We have a pretty nice network of buyers now. We can reach out to them and say, hey, is anyone looking for a new agentic provider that does, I don't know, KYB or something, right? We'll happy to make those introductions. And that's just part and parcel of this community that we're starting to build out. Yeah, and then our North Star is testing, right? What we want to do is build that digital sandbox where buyers can come in and actually test these providers against each other and build and see benchmarks of performance, latency, sufficiency of the data that they're getting. So they're making the right decision immediately and upfront instead of kind of Hail Mary getting, whoever gave them like the best deal because if you cheap out, you're probably not going to get like the best provider, right? So
yeah, that's right. And over my 20 years of working in fraud prevention and identity verification, testing is a real art. Where they're using a representative sample of data, and they're giving enough time and enough and statistically significant amounts of volume to be able to look at it, not just onesie twosie failures. So that will be exciting, and we would love to collaborate with you. We have one of the industry experts for proof of concept or data testing, so we'd love to team up with
yeah, absolutely. I think we would be very, very happy to work together on that. I think this specific space is so crowded, right? And it's so difficult to tell who's good from who is just there. That being able to put Vouched up front and say, hey, our APIs are here and ready to be tested is quite a testament to what you guys are building.
Good. Yeah. Well, we would love to prove that. And then another question for you, as somebody who interacts, who's in that space between buyers and sellers, for vendors well, let me rephrase it and say one of the things we've been trying to articulate at Vouch is the power of our customer success team, and the value that brings to a relationship. You mentioned early in our conversation about the unfortunate situation where somebody might need to get out of a contract within their first year, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for us as a new partner to Dilly Labs about how we can better articulate the quality of our customer success, the way we care for our clients, and honestly our high retention rate?
Great question. I think in my experience, and I'm not, because we haven't specifically worked with Vouch as an operator, right? In my experience, it's always been the regular check-ins from the customer success team, right? And not just, hey, how's everything going, but noticing the change in behavioral patterns, right? You have access to the logs of how the users are actually using your platform, of your API usage versus what they purchased, right? Being able to say, I'm seeing volume dip, I'm seeing volume increase. What can we do to partner better change our contract to better suit the economics of what you guys are actually going through, right? That kind of listening and actioning becomes super valuable and builds a more like collaborative relationship between the buyer and the vendor, rather than what usually happens, which is you've signed the contract and then the next time you hear from them is at renewal, or not even then, and then you're just locked into another year, right? Those auto renewals are the worst.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll work with you to make sure that clients we work with are providing that authentic feedback. But also we mentioned our G2 reviews. We have a dozen or so in the last quarter. Very powerful testament to companies that care about their customers and the ongoing relationship. Right. We are super excited about growing and strengthening existing relationships. It sounds like your ecosystem will be promoting that approach as well.
Absolutely. It's all about working together and making sure that these are long-lasting partnerships rather than one and done, year-long kind of flings.
Yeah. Well, I like to think that this podcast is going to reach dozens of powerful people, Kanishka. So what kind of information, potential investors are out there, other folks kind of watching this market? What else do they need to know about Dilly Labs before we wrap up today?
Oh, great. Let me give you the hard pitch, right?
Yeah.
What we're building is essentially CYA in a platform, right? So if you're a buyer out there and you're looking to make any purchase, these are not small endeavors, right? You're not spending hundreds of dollars, you're spending tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when you do that, you want to make sure that you are very secure in the vendor that you're picking. And Dilly Labs basically facilitates that process from discovery through to implementation. So if you come to us, we will not only take the ones that you have found yourself, but also surface to you other vendors that are relevant and really make them competitive with each other. So you're getting the best possible product, best fit, but also the best possible deal. And that's the core mission of what we're doing here.
It's a great mission. We're glad to partner with you.
Same here. I'm so glad to have found you guys and kick this off.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Kanishka. Great to meet you. Kanishka Khanna, the CEO and founder of Dilly Labs.